All righty. Gonna do a live podcast show update. Woo! Boy, I tell you what, I just had to pull the car out, pull it in, because we got a narrow driveway and people got to get out and and all this other stuff. It's still cold. When is the cold gonna leave us? That's what I want to know. When is the cold out of here? All right, let's get into some of the news stories that are plaguing us. And one of the things too is right here. If you can go to X, this Ohio Political News. This is our X. X marks the spot. So we got some really good stuff all the time. And listen to this. Listen to this for a minute.
Donald Trump. I'm going to obtain a conviction.
Hang on. I don't know if you caught that a second. Let me rewind this. Listen to this. Listen to this.
For Ohio Attorney General. I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I am going to kill Donald Trump.
Okay. Let's put a little context into this whole thing. He's going to kill Donald Trump. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? He is the Democratic contender to run for Attorney General. Tell me that isn't bizarre. Here we go.
I'm going to obtain a conviction rendered by a jury of his peers at a standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt based on evidence presented at a trial conducted in accordance with the requirements of due process, resulting in a sentence duly executed of capital punishment.
Okay.
That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill Donald Trump.
That's what he means when he says he's going to kill Donald Trump. First of all, he's running for Ohio Attorney General, so I don't know if he has the ability to say, I'm going to kill Donald Trump. Secondly, I don't think those are good words to put out on X. Third, if I was Trump, I'd have the ICE brigade knocking on his door right now. But fourth, that shows you how loony the Democratic Party is here in Ohio. That is going to be one of they're going to put him up. I think Keith Faber on the Republican side wants to run for Attorney General. Yeah, Keith Faber. And Keith Faber right now is the auditor of Ohio. But this guy, what the heck did they get at Paul Bunyan if he was wearing the Paul Bunyan shirt? You can't just come out and say wacko stuff like, I got to drink more coffee. This world is getting crazier all the time. All right, I want to show you something else here on X. We are going to abolish property taxes. And we have this event coming up on Monday, February 2nd, Monday. So it's at the Auburn Career Center. So northeast quadrant of Ohio. If you can get out there, please get out there. We got the trio, Brian Massey, John Plushnick, Chris Galloway. We got a great trio of panelists. I'm going to be emceeing it. And it is Monday starting at 6:30. We're also going to live stream it. So we have some really neat live streaming equipment that we've paid for. And so we can do some really good live streaming equipment. So we will be out there at the Auburn Career Center, 6:30 on Monday. So please, abolish property taxes. Abolish property taxes. Some people say, well, that's too radical, Joe. You can't just go out there and say you can get rid of property taxes. Yes, we can say it. And yes, if we get the signatures, you need about 430,000 valid signatures. If we get those signatures and it's on the ballot, it's going to pass. It's going to become a reality. And who wouldn't want to have their property taxes abolished? Let me just give you a quick rundown on some of that stuff because people don't quite understand it. And we will cover this at that tax town hall panel discussion. We're going to ask really, really tough questions. That's the thing I said about these guys. I said, guys, when we do this one, this is our third one, and many more to come, too. We're getting requests from people that say, we want you guys to come to our county. Okay, yeah. So here's the point. The point is that we're going to ask these tough questions. And the very first question that's going to be asked to the trio is, how do we pay for all of the services? Because we intend to pay for all the services. It's just not through the House. Think about it. Who would be in favor of having their house put up for collateral so that you can have a public school system that just is totally inept totally inept. So you can have a public school system that you're funding. Your kids don't go there. You don't go there. And the taxes are insanely high. But if you don't pay them, they're going to just swipe your house. Your biggest asset is gone. Cannot happen. So, join us. Again, join us for that property tax event. All right, let's see what else we got going on. And this is kind of interesting here. I want to put this up on X. I want you to. This was on our podcast show.
Here's the key takeaway point for the entire weekend. So write this down. Unless you are politically feared, you will not be politically respected.
Okay, you can't just give up and say, I'm not going to get involved.
So we were talking to Jennifer Gross, and that was a guy for Conservative Applied Leadership. And the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people throw up their hands. I talk to so many good, strong, conservative, grassroots people. They throw up their arms and they say, there's nothing I can do. I'm giving up. I don't like my state rep. I don't like my congressman. They're rhinos. I want out. We're going to get a grassroots group going. Listen, there's two ways that you motivate the politicians. You become a politician, that's one way, and that's the most difficult way. The second way, which you can accomplish, we can all accomplish, and we must accomplish, is you get a hold of that politician and you have them do your bidding. Okay? The lobbyists do it all the time. The lobbyists are in the ears of these state reps nonstop, 24/7, like the teachers union. The teachers union, that's why they get everything they want. They're loaded with money, and they're in the ears of the lobby. Those lobbyists are in the ears of the state reps nonstop. That's what we have to do as well as grassroots people. Don't give up the fight. You got to keep engaging in this fight. And this is Jennifer Gross, state rep out of District 45.
I'm not going to do this. Pericles said, you may not, and this is going to be my last final thought, you may not care about politics. But politics cares about you. They're counting you in numbers. They know you're there and they need you. Don't forget. Don't fall into the lie that your vote does not matter, because it does.
Here's the key.
Your vote matters. And the thing is, it's not just your vote, but you've got to use your own influence, whether it's at the school board, whether it's a city council, whether it's a state rep, whatever, to get them to know that you mean business, and that's how we get things done, okay? Well, I tell you, everything is so crazy out there in the world today. There's so much. Now, I got this off of, this is the podcast show that Cleveland.com does with Chris Quinn. I always wondered if that was really his name. So, they say fear is spreading through Ohio's immigrant communities, even without the direct presence of ICE yet. We got plenty of ICE outside in my driveway. But I bring this up because it's all propaganda. And Cleveland.com, plain dealer here in Cleveland, it's just, the Columbus Dispatch is the same way. These newspapers are so liberal, so leftist. They're just propaganda machines. For who? Like for communism, basically. They're just propaganda machines. So let me just give you an example here. So they were talking on their podcast to Jasmine Santana. She's the first Latina elected in city council in Cleveland. Now she's claiming that there's shockwaves going through the Hispanic and Latino community in Cleveland. She said that on the podcast. Shockwaves, because why? Oh, because ICE might be coming to Cleveland. This is so much blown out of proportion. It's crazy. Now, here's something else. This guy, Chris Quinn, who does the podcast, I'm just focusing on this. Not that I want you to go watch his podcast. It's garbage, all right? Don't watch the podcast and don't read Cleveland.com or the Plain Dealer. But he's getting all upset about Dave Joyce. Dave Joyce is a congressman here in Ohio, out in Portage County, I believe. Or Geauga County. And Quinn is saying to Dave Joyce, he's been a prosecutor for years. He knows right from wrong. He knows what he saw this weekend was absolutely illegal. The people that shot that guy and arrested him should be charged with murder. Of course, we're talking about Preddy, the ICE agents gunning him down. And I know they shot him 10 times. That might seem excessive. I got you. But you're aware of Preddy. He was the guy that had, I believe it was a 9mm in the lower part of his back in a holster. That was loaded, fully loaded. He also had 2 clips of 12 rounds in each clip. He had a lot of ammo on him. And he got into a confrontation with the police. He started the confrontation, by the way. He was in the street. He was trying to stop ICE cars, and he was doing what he could to cause and wreak havoc on those ICE officers. And, no pun intended, but it backfired on him, okay? It backfired in more ways than one. But now they go on to Dave Joyce here on the podcast. They're saying he's a coward. He's silent. He's not doing anything. He's not standing up for Americans. We know that John Husted and Marina will never do the right thing. And then he goes on to say that it's murder. It was flat out murder. You can't, where do you get the right, without fully investigating anything, news, Cleveland.com news, without fully investigating it, looking at all the sides and the evidence to say that it was just flat out murder. Flat out murder. This is gaslighting. Absolute total gaslighting by Cleveland.com in that podcast show. And why are they so upset with Joyce? If I was Dave Joyce, I wouldn't be happy that these loony leftists are mad at me because I'm not doing what they want to be done. Is that why they're happy with him? Is he a rhino? Is he somebody that's just going to be twist-armed to do whatever the Democrats tell him to do? Sounds that way. There was an ICE agent I was just reading a couple weeks ago. He got his finger bit off by one of the protesters. That didn't really make any news. Now, could you imagine if an ICE officer bit a protester's finger off? That news, we would never be, you'd never hear the end of it. It'd go on and on and on forever. But one other thing I want to just finish up with this Preddy, because more and more information is coming out about him. And I didn't have time to set up the video, but he was kicking the tail light out of an ICE vehicle a week or 10 days prior to him getting killed. So he had been out there probably every day. He was like a professional, he seemed like a professional protester. A couple of other things. I don't know how well he was, mentally stable he was. We're finding out that he was divorced. One of the divorce paper readings said that she filed for divorce because he'd become a lunatic, politically speaking. Now, that was one of the things, and I don't want to get into any of the personal stuff too much, but that ties directly to this, I think. There's also, I was reading where he wasn't even a nurse anymore, that he'd quit his job. So there's a lot behind the story. But when you got propaganda newspapers that just automatically, it's murder, ICE murdered, ICE murdered, get out of here. Get out of here. Crummy newspaper. Terrible. Terrible stuff. Now, I'm telling you, this is all part of the plan. I played this yesterday. Watch this here a second.
We're in the Bolshevik war right now, bro. And right now what's coming up is all the pride stuff is going to be...
And we're in the Bolshevik war right now. And the Bolshevik war was where there was an uprising amongst the people to take over Russia. And it was successful. And that's what this guy's referring to here.
This gay pride stuff is going away. And the next thing you're going to see are immigration riots. This is going to be right around the next election.
Okay, so this was in 2023. Immigration riots are coming. The LGBTQ, which was a communist run, they're trying to create civil unrest in this country. So let's wrap our eyes around this. This is not organically grown. People need to understand the stuff going on in Minnesota is not organically grown. We've had 20 million people come across that border. Many of them are not friendly to this country. Many of them would love to destroy this country. And many of them are planning to destroy this country. And one of the ways is through this whole immigration process.
And now you start seeing these they're putting little breadcrumbs out, man. Little breadcrumbs. Oh, I saw this one thing in Chicago. Oh, yeah, illegal immigrants are upset about where they're staying. And these illegal immigrants who speak no English are holding up perfectly written English signs saying we're tired of how we're being treated. And now you're starting to see this over and over again. Eric, so everyone's always like when all these Republican governors are like sending these immigrants all over the country, everyone's like, bro, they're moving assets. I know it sounds crazy, but that is 100
What do you mean they're moving assets? What do you mean?
Dude, these guys coming into the country, bro, have you seen them? A lot of them are Chinese, and a lot of them are military-age people.
Too.
And I'm telling you, they're moving, and this is what's going to be right around 2024 election. Immigration riots, people going nuts, and listen to this, and you'll start seeing all the little breadcrumbs. They're moving assets.
What do you mean, like military?
Moving assets. Okay, so they're moving assets. I also want to show you this here. This is a post. Now, when we say they're moving assets, of course, they're talking about the military-age men and stuff that came into this country by the millions. They're all over the place, and they're utilizing them to destroy us internally. This is an internal civil war. And we have to come to grips with that. We have to understand that. We have to understand it. Now, Daryl Rowland, I got this up here. He posts a lot. He's very radical leftist. He was a journalist for many years. It seems like almost all the journalists are radical leftists, or maybe that's the only ones they hire. The newspapers only hire you if you're a radical leftist. But he says the Ohio ACLU is gearing up for the Haitian deportations from Springfield and Columbus next week. This despicable surge in lawlessness by ICE officers descending upon Springfield will ignite swells of fear within the Haitian community, terrorizing our black and brown neighbors. All right, question for, and he posts all the time, and that's just some of his rhetoric, and he goes on and on and on and on, and he never stops. Question. The ICE agents are coming in to deport illegal immigrants. So if you are here illegally, you need to go because you have done something that's illegal. All right? You have committed a crime. Just by coming in here and staying here illegally, you got to leave. And they're going to give them planes, and they're going to let them get out of the city. But when we're talking about the Haitians now, not the Somalians, but the Haitians that have descended upon Springfield, Ohio, of all places. I don't know how many they think there are there, maybe 30,000. But they're so similar to the Somalians. First of all, they get all kinds of welfare. They've got free cars, they've got free SNAP, they got free welfare of any kind, Medicaid, they get free rent, they're getting free money. They are there. Free. That's not free, by the way. It's free to them. But remember, you and I are paying for it. It's coming out of our tax dollars. And that's totally wrong. That's wrong. That's fraud, waste, abuse. Now, I'm not happy with our political system like with our governor because he doesn't do anything about this. As a matter of fact, it seems like he's in favor of getting more Haitians into Springfield and stuff. Well, he ain't going to be around much longer. DeWine's going to just mosey out finally, and Vivek Ramaswamy will take over. We've got to bring Ohio, resurrected from the ashes and make it a great state again. At one time, it was one of the greatest states ever in the whole country, and now it's at the bottom ranking of everything, except taxes. We're probably near the very top when it comes to taxes, but that's just because we got lousy politicians. Okay. So the ICE, they're going to descend on there. They're going to get rid of the Haitians. The Somalians, we know about the Somalians because here they are, Somalian fraud. As you can see, this is what's going on in Minnesota. Everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar. The Attorney General, he's in big trouble. Tampon Tim Walz is in big trouble. So is Mayor Fry. Trump has already come out and said, you're not going to like what's going to happen. You're playing with fire right now, Mr. Mayor. These guys think they're so big. Oh, and Ilhan Omar, who went from having nothing to $30 million like within a couple of years. So they're going to investigate her. Now she's claiming, and this tells you what lies they are, and it's just irritating that they just come up with such phony lies and they think they can get away with anything. But anyhow, she was saying that a winery, they had a winery and they made all this money from the winery. So nothing to see here, go away, that's it. Well, if you investigate the winery, it doesn't exist. There is no winery, okay? I mean, you got to think a little bit beyond the end of your nose if you're going to start lying. You just can't whip up something. Oh, well, we'll just say we had a winery. I mean, they had the bare bones of a winery. They had like a website, but they didn't have an actual facility where they were making it. So her goose is cooked, thank God, and she'll be out of here. So anyhow, I want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, catch the Abolish Property Taxes. We're going to be doing that on Monday, so make sure you're out there. Monday, where is that? Here it is. Make sure you're out there on Monday, and we'll take the first step to getting rid of the property taxes. Believe me, there's plenty of money in the sales tax to fund the schools. The other funding we'll work on the other funding, but it's not going to be through property taxes. Maybe the other funding has to be through a local city tax, which I'm not really a big favor of, but maybe that's how it's going to have to be. But the taxes, the 65 to 70% of your property taxes that go to the schools, that's got to be 100% funded by the state of Ohio. It was always intended to be funded 100% by the state of Ohio, never property taxes. And what the state of Ohio has done is they have constantly given more over to local taxes, and they've been paying less. And that's what's got to stop. Hey, have yourselves a great day. Talk to you soon. Have a good day.